First of all, I should thank you, Prafulji, Yellowji, for inviting both of us to make this presentation. The topic given to me was how do I take the message I have to the masses? Okay. So before I tell you that story, I'm going to tell you a story. In my student days, there used to be a professor of microbiology. This professor had a class at 9 o'clock Monday, Wednesday, Friday in the winter session, or even in the fall session. Early morning 9 o'clock, undergraduates don't like to get up in the US, okay, because it is too cold. So, to wake these people up, this professor had a trick. Every time before starting the class, he would tell a joke. And this joke used to be at times quite poor. Okay, so then the kids would pick up their papers and make a ball out of the paper and throw the balls at the professor. This was the tradition, okay, and this was handed down by students from previous years. So everybody knew, even before the students took the class, they knew that this is the ritual every morning. Now, I'm sure the professors in our group might have had this experience, although the students may not have actually thrown paper balls at them. I'm sure when we were students, we would have thought, because the professor is so boring, that I'm going to make paper balls and throw at him. Will these paper balls hurt? Of course not. On each piece of paper, I write STONE, stone. Then I make the paper ball. Then I hit. Will that hit? No. Now I take an actual piece of stone. Then I wrap the paper around the stone. Then I hit. Will it hit? Of course it will hit. Because the word and the meaning of the word, they have become one. Whenever I utter a word from my mouth, if that word is not weighed down by the meaning of my experience, that word will have no effect on you. The best way to take any message to anybody is to make sure that whatever is being spoken is backed by experience. Unless I have the experience of what I'm talking about, it's not going to make any impact on you. Before you hear the word I'm uttering, I hear that word. If my words have not transformed me, how can I expect they will transform you? They cannot. Whatever I'm going to say here, I'll share my experience about how in the last 1.5 years, I've tried to take my experience to the masses. About 3 or 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, I undertook an experiment of Ahar Shuddhi, diet purification. See, this Ahar Kranti program is basically a very huge or large scale manifestation of what I've tried to do on my own. Most of us, in fact, I would bet all of us who are on this program right now, have the problem of not lack of nutrition, but excessive nutrition. All right. Unfortunately, most of our brothers and sisters in Bharat, or a large number of our brothers and sisters in Bharat, face the problem of lack of nutrition. Okay. When there is a large population in the country that doesn't get adequate nutrition, we have to solve that problem first. So, on the one hand, we have the affluent section of the society that has a problem of overnutrition, and therefore they are having what we call diseases of affluence, whereas there is another section in the population that is suffering because of inadequate nutrition. We have to address both these populations. See, as a systems thinker or as an environmental engineer or someone who has studied ecology and ecosystems, I can tell you that if there is an excess available for a certain portion of the population and they are not voluntarily giving up whatever is excess in their life, then the rest of the population, which is suffering because of lack of adequate resources or nutrition, they will keep suffering. So on the one hand, we have to educate the population that has excessive resources available to them to consume what they actually need, and at the same time make those resources available for the other section of the society that lacks those resources. So Ahar Kranti is hopefully addressing both these sections, and in fact we need to take these messages to both these sections. My main message for the last year and a half has been that we need to consume only as much as we require, because in nature, if you look at ecosystems or any organism other than Homo sapiens, no organism will consume anything more than their requirement. Okay, if we consume more than what we require, it will be like pouring water into a glass that is already full. The water will simply drain away. This is exactly what happens to us in our own bodies. If we look at our own body as an ecosystem, in that ecosystem, if you add a certain nutrient, or let's just say iron or calcium or zinc or vitamin B12 or you name it, if we add more than what our body requires, then the body will have no choice but to throw away the excess material we have put into our body. Okay, so we have to learn the discipline that we are going to consume only what we require. How do we do that? We are not nutritionists, right? We are not scientists. We are not going to count our calories every day, right? There are two signals nature has given us. I mean, this discussion will be fine for all of us because we all understand many different scientific terms such as nutritional value, calorific value, blood glucose, blood cholesterol, all those things we understand. But the person on the street, the person who is, say, driving a rickshaw, he doesn't understand those. But the signal nature has taught us is when we require something, then we get hungry for it. Okay, since we are talking about diet here, when do I know that I need food? I get hungry. So nature has given me a signal of hunger. So I should wait until that signal. That is the green signal to eat. Then, if I sit down quietly and eat in a traditional manner, the way we have been taught as children in our culture, sit down, eat quietly with a certain reverence towards the food, because the food I'm eating right now is going to become a part of me, isn't it? In the next couple of hours. So in my language, in Marathi, they say Anna hai Purna Brahma and Udara Bharana nohe Janije Yajna Karma. It means that the food is Purna Brahma, because that's going to convert itself into me, right? And I have to eat it as if it is a sacrificial offering, Yajna Karma, not as a pleasurable activity. Of course, it will induce pleasure. About that, there is no doubt. If I'm hungry, I'm eating good food, it's going to taste very good. But enjoying the taste is not the fundamental purpose of eating. The fundamental purpose of eating is to make sure that the body is well nourished and the body functions well. For what? For helping others. So if I consume my food in that manner, then I will sustain my body very well and I will help others because I have a healthy body and a healthy mind. That's the message I have taken to as many people as I could. We started a startup. It's an online program where we bring in people to mentor them, to guide them, to tell them, to teach them about what experience we have had. And whatever experience we have had, we simply share that with those people who participate in the program. And then they tell other people, they influence their families. See, if I'm going to have any influence on my family, will I not have to follow the principles I'm telling them first? See, if I'm getting up at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, and then if I tell my son that he should get up at 6 o'clock and study hard, is he going to listen to me? Obviously not. So, if my words have to carry any meaning, whether it is Ahar Kranti, whether it is Ahar Shuddhi, or whether I'm just teaching our son to get up early in the morning, it needs to be backed by my own experience. So, whatever I've tried to share with people in the last year and a half, I've done those experiments on myself for the last 2.5, 3 years. Once I came to certain conclusions based on the experiments I've done those experiments completely scientifically. So, observed the input parameters, observed the experimental results. I have tried to document those. I have photographs, I have data, I have all kinds of things. And then try to take that message to whoever I can. So when Yellowji and Prafulji requested me to speak about it, I thought, yes, I would briefly share that experience. The initiative is called Satwa. That's the logo you saw when you weren't seeing me in my video. It's SATTV dot LIFE. So www.satva.life. If you go to that website, you will get an idea of what we are doing to spread this awareness to masses. That's just one way. I'm not saying that that's the best way, but that's what we have done. So I'm happy to share that with you. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, I'm happy to answer those. Thank you, Prafulji and Yellowji, for giving me this opportunity. Appreciate it.